Hey, um, I don't know who this video is gonna find. It's kind of like almost more for me, it's like I'm talking to my younger self. Um, but I'm doing that, like putting it on the internet instead of just making the video and be like, okay, I got that out, because I think it might help some younger creatives who are out there. And I just want to say, like, if you're like a young person who has a creative passion, and this could be a lot of different things. It could be music, it could be painting, it could be art, and all of its various forms. Video editing, filming things. It doesn't matter. For me, it was music though, so that's what we're going to talk about. But this could apply to all sorts of different creative endeavors. Um, I started playing guitar when I was 11 years old, which felt late for me, honestly, because I was already writing songs in my head before I turned 11. Before I picked up the guitar, I would write whole songs in my head. And, at age 15, I could play like Jimi Hendrix and play like blues rock. And it was really impressive to, the Gen X people and boomers around me. They're blown away by the way I could play guitar at such a young age. And there's this sort of like wow factor you get when you're young. Like, you don't realize it until later on in life, but like, people are instantly more impressed by what you're doing if you're a young person. They instantly care more. There's even open mics that I see where they put a precedence on younger musicians that are under 21 because they want to showcase that. And it makes sense in a way. But what I'm getting at is, I knew that I wanted to be a professional musician. Uh, at like 12 years old, I knew that's what I wanted to do. It didn't take me very long for me to figure out that that's what I was comfortable doing. Played at my first open mic at like 12 or 11, and people gravitated towards me. I had this thing going on. I have people who talk about this time period now that knew me, and dude, I had no clue. They say that like people would like follow me around, like a group of people like followed me and stuff. I had no idea that I had so much attention. It didn't weigh on me at all. And anyway, I remember in middle school, telling adults in my life, my mom, my dad, um, aunts and uncles, and of course teachers, that this doesn't matter. And I'm going to be the only adult that will probably ever give you this advice. But I wish somebody would have listened to me. My success as a musician, which I still to this day consider, my main thing that I do. I do like UFO disclosure now and stuff. I'm a creative. I do weird things, and I've lived the way I live, and nothing ever could or would change that. And I knew that at 11, 12 years old. But the adults in my life were the unrealistic ones with their heads in their asses. All of them. Every single fucking last one of them. They all told me I had to graduate high school. I had an uncle who told me, "Hey, I know I admire what you're doing with music, but you should go to business school. You need a fallback, and if you get good grades, I'll give you an allowance. I'll give you money," because this is a wealthy uncle that I had. And he said, and then you can go to college and you have your fallback." And it's like, what the fuck kind of advice is that? Fallback? All these people were stupid. They never played music. They never had a music career. Yet they were all trying to tell me how it works when they all had no fucking clue. You can be like I know it's getting harder, okay? Like, looking back at when I grew up, when I was a young teenager in early 20s, that was like a golden age looking back. Because you had the internet, and you could book tours on your own without a booking agent and all that stuff. But the market wasn't so oversaturated yet. It was like the perfect time where if I would have just capitalized on that, focused on that, been given the tools and resources to do that, I'd be a lot further in life. And I don't mean to blame it on all the adults, because I have lived off of music. That's what I'm getting at here. I've paid my rent entirely off the sweat of my own brow, playing bar gigs, busking, doing every little thing I can to make ends meet. And the adults in my life had this weird mentality, like this weird idea that if I wanted to be a musician, I had to be Ozzy Osbourne, I had to be Ted Nugent, I had to be Britney Spears, I had to be Justin Timberlake, I had to be famous. They had no comprehension of the fact that there's an entire, like, most musicians are working class musicians that they might have a little bit of a following and it pays their bills, but 9 out of 10 people will have never heard their name. Some of these guys are playing cover bands. This idea that you need to be living in a mansion with a record deal with Universal Records in order to be a successful musician is so out of touch with reality. And that was the advice that was given to me when I was a young creative, is that if I can't reach that echelon of society where I'm dating supermodels and driving sports cars and I have my own private jet or something, then I'm not successful. I haven't made it with music. That was literally the world that they live in and where they're coming from. And when I told them that the reality I want to live in, where I drive around in a car and I play music, is divorced from this reality where you want me to just follow orders as good as possible because this is a brainwashing facility. That's what schools are, and that's what I told them. I was like, this doesn't equate. It's not going to work. But instead of listening to my own intuition and telling them to fuck off, which I tried, I let them chip away at me more and more. Oh no, you should do this. Oh no, you should. Oh look, now you're actually kind of doing. Doesn't it feel good to get good grades? You're actually doing okay in school. Now we don't all think you're a burnout loser because you're actually getting halfway decent grades. Don't you want to graduate now that you're all the way here? Because I was forced to go to school. I would go to jail if I didn't go to school. I got truancy. I skipped class and stuff all the time. I got in so much trouble. And then even when I turned 18, I was on probation because I skipped school for truancy and stuff like that. And so even after the age 18, under court order, I still had to go to school. And what I wish I would have done is the minute that court order ended, the minute that I didn't have to do it beholden by any laws anymore, I wish I would have fucking dropped out of school. It is not going to help you. The world is moving too fast for school to teach you anything fucking discernibly valuable. I promise you that. The world is moving way too fast for any of the adults around you to know what the fuck they are talking about. I promise you. It was the case when I was 11 years old, 12 years old, and it's still the case now. All these adults are acting like they know everything, acting like they understand the world, acting like they have some sort of chip on their shoulder where you should take their advice. And because you're a child, because you're not an adult, because you're 18, they treat you like your opinion is worthless, like it doesn't matter, and you're just a moron. You have no idea what you're talking about. Well, I can tell you from personal experience, 11, 12-year-old me, 15-year-old me, that said, I don't need to go to school, I need a van so I can pack up my shit and play shows, and I need access to a computer so I can book shows, and I need a YouTube account and a camera. Those are the kinds of things that I need. I was right. I was so right. And, now that I'm 30, I'm in my 30s, and I go out in the world, and I see the juxtaposition to how I was treated when I was a 15-year-old kid playing Jimi Hendrix and playing blues licks behind my head and shit, as to now, nobody cares. When you are that age, like, you have this thing. And for the adults in my life to be like, hey, worry about business school. Instead of being like, hey, let's set you up with a manager. Let's you've got something here. Like Taylor Swift's parents, for example, or something like that. Like, hey, you're talented. We should capitalize on this. Instead, all the adults in my life were like, go to business school or some bullshit. And they were all fucking wrong. I'm never gonna go to business school. I'm not gonna become a fucking lawyer. That's not me. They all wanted me to be some person that I'm not. And now I, years later, pay the price for listening to them, for taking their garbage ass advice. And the only reason why I'm able to even say any of this stuff is because I have lived off music. I've literally lived off of music. Was I wealthy? No. I basically never knew when my next money was coming from, and it was always, just paycheck to paycheck. But that's how everyone lives right now. It's a little bit more unstable, but at the end of the day, you fucking send it. You don't go, oh, well, it's unstable, and, you need to have a backup plan. That's not the advice that you give young creatives. You say, fucking send her. If you're gonna do this, fucking send it. Do it as hard as fucking possible. Obsess over it. Sit in your bedroom all day learning chords and theory and learning songs and learning how to record and self-produce. And that's what, if the adults around me knew fucking anything about what they're talking about, that's what they would have done. They would have provided me with the actual tools and resources to succeed, not shitty advice that literally led me nowhere that I regret taking. So, I unfortunately can't send this video in a time capsule to my younger self, but I know that there are creatives out there, like young people, and you don't have to be a musician. You could have some cool comic book that you have an idea for, or whatever. It could be a million different things. And even though it's getting harder and harder for artists, and the world is chipping us down more and more and making it harder and harder for us to live off of what we do, that doesn't mean you just don't do it. The world needs artists. And if you are deciding that's what you want to do at a very young age, we're talking 10, 9, 8, in 12 years old, whatever, even as a young teenager, that's a hugely powerful thing to be that young and decide who you are. Like, don't decide who you are and know who you are, know who the fuck you are, and then let other people be like, oh no, you need to be this thing. You need to wear a suit and a tie and fucking go to business school and all this shit. That was so useless. It didn't help me. It didn't provide me with any of the material resources that I needed to succeed in life and do what I was put here on this earth to do. Okay? And yeah, looking back, I just wish I would have told all these people to fuck off. Go fuck yourselves. But they're literally your support. When you're a teenager, who's paying the bills and putting the roof over your head? These adults. So you feel like you have to listen to them because they know or something. Well, they're all pretending. They're all flying by the seat of their pants. The world is changing so fucking fast that none of them know what tomorrow is going to look like. So, recognize the adults around you who are wise. Like, we should respect our elders and take, their advice. But people in your vocation, like a principal at a middle school, is not going to know fucking anything about the music industry. So all the advice that the principal of Madison Middle School gave me, it was useless. He thought I had to be Ozzy Osbourne or Britney Spears playing to millions of people in order to be a successful musician. Like, there aren't dive bars on every corner in fucking Wisconsin that want live music every weekend. Or even on weeknights. And you can run open mics, which I've done, and all these other things. There's all these ways you can pay the bills, but they act like you have to be Post Malone or something. And then they say you're the one with the pie in the sky ideas. You're the one who's unrealistic. Don't take their fucking advice, okay? That's all I gotta say. If you know you want to do something, do it. Start now. Don't wait. Like, there was like this idea they gave me, like, oh, you're gonna fly the coop when you're 18 and go off to college and learn who you are. No, I knew who the fuck I was already, you idiots. I knew exactly who the fuck I was. You didn't know who I was. And I will forever blame you for that. You gave me shitty advice. So I know that there's somebody out there, this probably won't get that many views, but even if just one young person that's doing something cool with their lives, that wants to put something cool in the world, that makes the world a little bit more bright of a place. And just like the guys that are playing in cover bands at dive bars, dude, Rick and Tina freaking dance and have a good time and memories are made. That job's important. You can't tell people that just because they're an unknown band with some, very small following, but they pay their bills. Like, that's all you need. You don't need to live in a mansion on the hill. That's capitalism talking. Alright? That's more talking. You just need to make it by. And if you're doing what you love, you're going to be happier, struggling a bit maybe, but doing what you love, as compared to being super duper well off and always having a full bank account but being fucking miserable because you're not doing what you're supposed to do, what you're put on this earth to do. So I hope my advice helped people. I had a session with my therapist that kind of brought this all out, and it really made me realize, like, I was right. Like, I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to do. And, like, yeah, like, the whole thing where I'm saying if you're young, people kind of look at you different. Capitalize on that now. Don't wait. Make yourself known now. You're already an artist. The minute you put pen to paper, the minute you strum a chord, you're a fucking artist. You decided that, and you are that. Don't let any adults who don't know who the fuck they're talking about, they don't know who you are. You do. Do not let them take that away from you. Like, I almost let them take that away from me. I let them chip away at it. I'm here. I'm still making music. I'm still making art. But if the adults in my life would have given me tangible resources and like, hey, this is what they're doing, instead of being like, oh, what about all these other things? That didn't do shit for me, I promise you. Alright? Believe it or not, children and young adults and teenagers and stuff sometimes can maybe know what they're talking about. You're not like, yes, we need, like, as young people, we need guidance, obviously. But you don't need to be let out on a goddamn leash. You need to have some sort of ability to create who you are. And parents oftentimes will be like, no, I just want you to be like me, or whatever. Wasn't my parents. They wanted me to be a musician, but they listen to the system. They listen to my Uncle John. They listen to all these other, and it's like, no, they're all wrong. They're wrong. They were wrong. You don't need to be playing stadiums to have your fridge full of food and a roof over your head. That's stupid. That's the pie in the sky shit, is thinking that that's what you need in order to be successful. So, yeah, just be prepared to suffer a little bit for your art, to not know where your next, that's going to happen a bit here and there. But you're way more likely to be sitting fatter and sitting more nicely and be more successful later in life if you focus on your art now. Because you're going to realize later on in your life that is what you want to do. I mean, there's people who they do it. They take the advice. They become a lawyer and shit. There's people who have done that, and then they realize, what the fuck am I doing? And they completely throw it away to do music, and then it's successful for them. Don't waste all your time with that. Why? They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You know who you are. Don't let anyone take that away from you. I hope this helped somebody. Alright, much love.